Okay, I had someone ask me if there was any way I could show a little closer up view of me just doing some of the petal strokes. So I'm going to attempt that here and see if that will work, if I can get this set up to agree with me. All I've done is brush mixed the two different yellow colors and just a touch of burnt sienna on the brush. And the way I do this is I use my little finger as a pivot. Either that or I actually will sometimes hold my hand with my other hand. Anything that makes it stable and helps give you balance works. So you want to touch, press the brush, and as you lift it, give the brush a turn so that it goes from being flared out and wide like that as you make the stroke to, as you turn it, it's going to come up to a point. And that just takes practice. It takes lots of practice. I practiced this stroke for months before I could ever feel like I got it right. For me personally, the best way to practice the stroke is to do what I call straight pull towards you strokes, curved from one direction strokes, and then curved from the other direction strokes. And you're going to find that as you do the curved stroke, one direction is going to be super easy compared to the other. That's just because of the way we hold things even when we write. So one direction is just going to seem to have a more natural flow than the other way does. Another thing that I had to do when I was first started teaching painting in 86, 87, I ended up with a couple of left-handed students. So I actually taught myself how to do these, just basically they're toll strokes. We use them for flower petals, for leaves, all kind of other accent strokes, but it's basically just a comma stroke, toll stroke. A lot of different names associated with it. But I actually taught myself how to do them upside down. So I would press, let me do that again. I would touch, press, pull, and lift away from me so that when they saw the stroke being done, it was actually easier for them to then be able to do the stroke. Now these have a lot of little fat paint lines on them because I'm trying to keep enough on the brush just to so that you can see some of the strokes. But, and I keep feeling like my hand is in the way. But that's just the gist of doing this stroke. And there again, it just takes practice. Of course, this was that same brush that I was doing the coneflowers with earlier. So it's a little larger round brush. It might be easier to work with a smaller one. And if I can find that little one, here we go. This is the one I was doing the watercolor stuff with the other day. And let me see if I can do anything that might be a little better or finer. But same motion. Touch, press, pull, and lift. Touch, press, pull, and lift. And this stroke is really pretty to do feathers, accent borders with, that sort of thing. You can just add a row of these strokes and then you could come back with another color and maybe do, let's see if I can do this here, do some little dots as an accent around a piece, or on a chicken or rooster to accent the feathers. So that's just a simple way to do the little bordery things with it. Okay, I'm going to see if I can break down the little rosebud a little better. Oof, got a major wad of water in that. This is kind of going to be a quickie version, so I'm hoping that it will, you can see it. Both colors loaded on the brush, the light color and the dark color. This is just warm white and I think Napa red. And what you're going to do for your back stroke of the Rosebud, I'm using the angle brush to do this particular one with, because somebody said they wanted to see me do it with an angle instead of a flat. Touch this. If you do something like that, make those little marks, that'll kind of give you a guideline. So go back and touch your first mark, and to stroke over to that second line, all you really need to do is just push upwards on the brush. So I'll do it again to make the two little marks. Just push upward. You're not actually moving the whole brush in that motion. You're just pushing so that the brush bristles, can't seem to get that out, push that white for that curved arc at the top and leaves your red part kind of straight across the bottom. It would be the same thing as if you were painting a C-stroke. And yes, when I first started painting Rosebuds, I actually turned my piece and would make the C-strokes in order to get my little Rosebuds just like I wanted them and where they were at. I don't do very good with roses, the little stroke roses and stuff. So that's why I do a lot more Rosebuds than I do actually trying to do roses. So if you were going to go back and do the bottom part of this rose, you touch in the same place, but then kind of arc the brush downward so that you get that bowl of dark color inside, and then you have that white around that top to accent your Rosebud. Here you would do the same thing. You would just make the C-stroke backwards, and you would end up with the same little Rosebud. I mean, it's just that easy, but it's just practicing the strokes. So if nothing else, sit there and paint you a few C's on your practice paper. All I did to prep this paper was brushed a light coat of matte medium over a piece of white cardstock. And that was it. So then to go back and add the bottom half, like I said, just do that stroke backwards. And the nice thing about this is once you've got your bottom stroke on, sometimes you may lose some of your white or your bright color. All you've got to do is start with a freshly prepared brush, rinse it just like you're starting from scratch, and then when you go back over it, it's going to strengthen that white, and it's going to give you that front bowl back that you may have lost from doing so many strokes. So that would be your Rosebuds. And you could put them on the end of little stems, or just, you could paint just the little Rosebuds with a little bit of greenery. So I will now try to show you how to do some of the little greenery in a couple of different ways. When I do it using the same brush that I do the Rosebuds with, I just load both colors on the brush and just kind of pull that color around. I don't worry about how exact some of it looks. I have a beautiful rose bush outside, and after the wind ravages all of the blossoms, they're not exact. So that would be our little stem, and you can do the little hang down things. Same brush. And then if you want to add the little leaf, and then there would be your little leaf on your rose stem. So that would be just using the same brush that you made the Rosebuds with. Let's see if we can do a little something similar using this little number 3 round brush. You would just make your strokes coming around the bowl of the brush, and I don't worry about how much of which green I get, a little more dark, a little more light. And if you want that little piece pulled up in the center, just kind of give it a little a little lift there from the middle. Now, to get your stems a little thinner with the round brush, you're probably going to have a little more moisture left in the brush. And then just pull down from where you did your greenery there. And then if you want another, if you want another stem, you can just add all kinds of different little things to look like what they're supposed to look like. And then if you want to use that same brush to make a leaf with, you would load it really full with the 2 colors of paint. Squash it down good, and then just pull up. That one kind of got a little weird on me. But no matter how you do these, they're going to resemble a rosebud and a leaf. Let's go back and do these little hangy down things. I can't remember what they're called. But that's just the basic stroke that I use for making the rosebuds, and all of this is the stroke that I use for making the coneflowers.